Yes, good evening. I welcome you all for the today's session, sequential circuits. So, as the difference between combinational and sequential, we know very well. In sequential circuit, we have a memory device which is used to store a one bit information like zeros and ones. And examples for sequential circuits are latches, flip flops, registers, counters. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about latches. Okay. Before going to latches, let us know about the sequential circuit in detail. So this is the block diagram of our sequential circuit. So you have primary input, primary outputs. You have primary inputs, primary outputs. In between we have a combinational logic circuit to do combinational logic functions. So in the output we have one feedback connection to the memory elements, and from the memory elements we are giving the input to the input of combinational logic circuit. It is fed as an input. So the primary inputs is the main input, and the secondary inputs or the inputs of your previous, that is, you know very well, in sequential circuit the output depends on present inputs and previous outputs. So the primary inputs is your present input, and the secondary outputs and inputs are your previous stage inputs and outputs. So this is the main difference of your combinational and sequential. Combinational depends on present input and sequential depends on present and past outputs. We have two types of sequential circuits here. One is synchronous sequential circuit and another one is asynchronous sequential circuit. So synchronous sequential circuit, and what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous? In synchronous sequential circuit reacts in the output if there is any changes in the input. The output depends and reacts within the instant of time. That is said to be as synchronous sequential circuit. But in asynchronous sequential circuit, if there is any changes in the input, the output reacts with discrete instant of time. So this is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous, it is instant of time, the output react with the instant of time. In asynchronous, the output react with discrete of time for the changes in the input. So this is the difference between our synchronous and asynchronous. Now let us discuss about latch. Latch is an electronic device that stores one bit of data and changes its output immediately based on the input. So one bit storage devices means it is used to store 1 or 0. So the main difference between flip-flops and latches. Flip-flops in latches changes its output whenever the input change, immediately it reacts and responds. But flip-flop, it needs a trigger for the output to get changed. Unless or until it will not react. That is why we used to say it a discrete instant of time. So this is the main difference between latch and flip-flops. Here I have shown the clock pulses. For latch we no need clock pulses to trigger. For flip-flop we need clock pulses. So here we have two types of clocks triggering. One is positive triggering and another one is negative triggering. So positive triggering is which occurs from 0 to 1, and negative triggering is which occurs from 1 to 0. So this is the sample of positive triggering and negative triggering. If the clock rises from 0 to 1, it is positive triggering, and if it falls down, it can also be named as rise time and fall time. So the falling edge is from 1 to 0 and the rising edge is from 0 to 1. So this rising is said to be as positive triggering and that falling is said to be as negative triggering. So this is all about the clock pulses which is used in flip-flops and latches. So in latches we have positive level triggering and negative level triggering. Frame positive level is nothing but 0 to 1 and negative level is 1 to 0. This is all about our latches. Thank you.